are Wardancers, both variants on given patch 6.2.2. It is convenient to cover these units now because the redline skills and text are identical to the last video, and they're still in the video editor, so less work for me, yay! But seriously, I have deep respect for both units, and it's time to look at what they bring differently from Wildwood Rangers and Bladesingers. Recruited for 750 gold and 200 upkeep, a CA tweak because that misaligns the two. On Ultra, you get 100 entities and 6,800 health between them, so markedly less than the more elite units. Armor starts at 15, physical resistance is 20% like Bladesingers, leadership of 70 is high without being absolute elite tier. Speed 46 and charge speed 54 are the high foot speed Bladesingers and Witch Elves employ. Melee attack begins at 40, and attack interval 4.5 is a mild debuff often applied to anti-infantry dual-blade units. There is no splash damage. Note the lack of magical attack, it's not here. Melee defense begins at 38. Weapon strength comes at 36, split base 26, and armor piercing 10, as in the reverse of Bladesingers. There is a bonus versus infantry of 12, which improves melee attack and weapon strength by that number along the same damage ratio. Charge bonus is 24 and mass is 110. The traits are hide and forest, woodsman to phase through trees, and immunity to psychology. For active stances, the Shadow's Coil returns, allowing a targeting stance of plus 24 melee defense and minus 24 melee attack. Against the right enemy, they'll shred with impunity like this, but they'll shred slower. The other stance, not shared with Bladesingers, is Woven Mist, allowing plus 40% missile resistance at the cost of minus 24 melee defense. So aside from edge cases, this is something you want to use on the approach, not after it. Keep this stance in mind as we cover redline skills and texts. Before doing that, let's go over the Esrai Spears variant. Recruited for 850 gold and 212 upkeep, the basic stats are all the same until we get to melee attack of 30 default or 10 less, and attack interval 4.6 or 0.1 seconds slower. Melee defense shoots up to 49 or 11 better, weapon strength 32, split base 12, and armor piercing 20, as in, this is an armor piercing unit now. There is a bonus versus large of, insert gacha sounds, 23. That's fairly high, and remember that doesn't just stack on melee attack for 53 versus Empire Knight at rank 0, but turns weapon strength 32 into weapon strength 55, split along the AP tilted ratio. This unit has charge bonus versus large and charge reflection, good to know because not all anti-large units in the game can, and has the same active stances as the other Wardancer unit. Note I did not mention any shields, but 20% physical resistance is a good starting point, and Honey Badger missile resistance doesn't care if the attack is magical. Just something to remember when frontlining for Archer Spam. In the redline skills, Swinging Bows returns, and provides melee attack and defense plus 6 at 3 pips, the rich getting richer again. Shield of the Forest also returns at rank 7 and up for plus 12 armor, which percentage-wise is huge, plus 5 melee defense and plus 10% physical resistance, and that's really going ninja on us. In the tech tree, Vol the Maker for plus 10 armor, Eldrazor Lord of Blades for plus 5 melee attack and physical resistance plus 10% more, Wisdom of the Cypress for vigor loss reduction, and as pointed out, Loic the Trickster for missile resistance 10%, a Dioth Bringer of Fire for the fire resistance 25%. It's all good. So how do we use Wardancers? Fortunately, the stats told us what we need to know. Base Wardancers are not as flexible as Bladesingers, but are saw blades to mow down anything less armored than Grave Guard, and in that case will just tend to take longer and sustain more damage in the process. I understand certain characters can grant Vanguard deployment for even more fun. It's all good. The use of the unit as aggressive clearers independent of arrows in the quiver or lack thereof is a good hedge against trouble and trims hedges very effectively. Azrai Spears are obviously troubleshooters for you. They aren't as tough as Eternal Guard in some senses, you don't want them hit by spells, but for closing off the flanks and hunting down elite units of large size to make them bleed, they're great. Basically purely because they're fast. They don't need to rely on bracing, you can just use them like corn gores, I'm not even kidding. A speedy anti-large infantry unit can erase a meddlesome dragon that landed in the middle of your archers. It's not that they're bad against infantry, with elite tar-pitting potential, but you're probably bringing other units for that. If not base Wardancers, then lots of other stuff. Considering the budget pricing compared to Bladesingers, if they're all you need, then bring them and use them with aggression, again because the speed lets you do so. They're glassier with less chin, but that's okay. The forest must have its thorns. There's defensive options, you need to make the foe bleed too. Take care, and have fun dancing away with victory.